One of the biggest disappointments of Fantasia for some people will be they didn't get the chance to see Nicolas Cage because he was going to be there to accept a Career Achievement Awards. And unfortunately, he couldn't make it there in person. However, the world premiere of our feature presentation, Symphony for the Devil, did go on as planned. It stars Nicolas Cage. And what a great year for genre cinema when Cage definitely plays Dracula and possibly plays the devil.
What a great year.
That's awesome. Just that and
Yeah.
alone tells you this is going to be a good year. But Sympathy for the Devil is about a driver who is forced to take on this mysterious passenger, Nicolas Cage, who has a red satin jacket and red hair, and the driver has to take him at gunpoint. But as the night progresses, things aren't exactly what anybody thinks that they are. So there's more and more of these like ride share thrillers. And I've yet to see a really, really, really good one. I haven't seen one that knocks me off my socks. But my big takeaway from this, and there's a lot of good things about this movie, but I was surprised by the lack of tension.
The lack of attention.
No tension, just like
Oh,
suspense.
lack of tension. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, no, sure. Almost none.
yeah, really weird.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, this movie is a movie of like spectacle more than tension.
Yeah, and I say lack of talent, and it's intentional. It's not because they were trying for it and they fail. It's not because of bad chemistry between the actors, because we'll
No.
talk about their chemistry right now. But that wasn't the problem, and it really wasn't because of bad writing, because it was a decision to do it this way. But
Yeah.
I don't know, based on the situation, and spoiler alert, we'll talk about some things in this movie, but we will not ruin any of the major twists in this. But the driver, he's going to go to his wife's in labor, and that's where he
Yeah.
wants to be. And that's a tense situation when someone has you at gunpoint and you have to be the woman you love is giving birth to your second child. Like you have to be there, you know.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they don't play up. They play up the situation, but even then, only a little bit. But that tension that you would expect, just it ain't there. Really weird.
It really, really strange. Yeah, this is like when I think of tension, and this does take place in Vegas, and it makes me think. But one of the tensest scenes I can think of is from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and it is when Dr. Gonzo and his Samoan friend or whatever he calls him are at that diner in the middle of the night, and there's the waitress there, and they absolutely terrorize her, and it is one of the tensest, most cringy, horrible scenes ever.
It's
That's kind of what
rough.
this whole movie should have been,
Agreed.
and it wasn't at all. What this movie, okay, here's what it is. To me, it was cartoonish. It was utterly cartoonish, and to some degree I get that. You have Nicolas Cage in a role in which you've kind of like, you've let him fly.
Yeah, yeah. He's a straight up villain, and I
He
mean,
is.
we did see him as Dracula, Face Off, Castor Troy, but he's not a villain very. He's City of Angels and Moonlighting. He's not
The
a
Rock.
villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Rock. He's not a villain very. Con Air, but he's not a villain very often. But in this one,
No.
he's um not the nicest dude.
No, he's a real, like, he's a scary piece of shit.
Yeah,
And he's acting unhinged, and you can tell he's dangerous. I mean, that you get. But again, it kind of plays into this like cartoonish portrayal of this whoever he is.
right.
And like, he did have me kind of hanging on every word. Like, I anytime he would start one of his monologues, you're hooked.
Yeah.
um but they were all kind of the same monologue.
Interesting delivery. Like, I'm thinking Nick Cage can't do a Boston accent, or I don't know. Maybe he
In and out.
it's an interesting way that he played because he's also got
He went to the Jack Nicholson school of
and he did name drop Edward G. Robinson, and there was a lot of that in there. But,
yeah.
this movie earlier you said spectacle. I think that's a really good way to describe because I think this movie is like 99% they're like, okay, this is Nick Cage, like how the internet loves him, like Mandy and Wicker Man, and this is what the internet loves. So we're gonna give you a whole movie of that, and
Yeah.
and it doesn't disappoint on that. I would say if you're going for that cage rage stuff, it's really downplayed, to be honest. And then there's some point where he absolutely ramps it up, including a musical number.
Oh, right, right.
But yeah, it's I wouldn't say it's in his like top even five crazy characters. I think Ren his Dracula was way more interesting
Yeah.
and way more out there.
Oh yeah, I mean he's got crazy, way crazier characters than this guy. And let's talk about the chemistry here. Joel Kinnaman, who I like, I
He's
think
good.
he's good.
He's really
He's
good.
good. He's bad in this.
I don't get it.
I don't
I
fucking get it, dude. He's bad. That could have that should here. Let me put it this way. That should have been a character, an actor like Charlie Day or Steve Zahn, or that's a better casting than fucking 6'4" Hulk of a man, Joel Kinnaman, who's yeah, he's great. Super miscast here, man. And I don't blame him for it being bad. I do not think this is a role for him, like whatsoever.
I think because during the over the course of the night, like I mean, he's being held at gunpoint, so he's gonna try to escape, of course.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just what else are you gonna do? Maybe that's why they cast him in that role because I mean, he does fit the type of action hero. He was in Suicide Squad, so
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, it kind of
He's
works on that
RoboCop.
level. He's RoboCop. It works on that level,
Sure.
but I agree with you. Like the I don't think it's Nick Cage and I don't think it's Kinnaman. There's something about the interactions where it just seemed God almost sloppy. It's really weird. Like and I don't want to spoil it too much, but I won't say the
Well,
movie was bad, but there was like something about them that just like it didn't click at any point for me. And it might be that the fact that they didn't play up the tension. I don't know. I keep going back to that, but
yeah, yeah. They have this scene towards the back part of the movie, like in a restaurant, and I think that's the moment you're supposed to kind of like vibe that there's something that like the driver there, there's maybe more than meets the eye or whatever it is. They're trying to
right.
confuse you a little bit, but that scene didn't feel right. Like the fact that the, the dialogue is really bad for the driver's character.
Mhm.
All he is doing is repeating himself over and over and over again,
Right.
and it becomes grating. And it gets to the point where they're like literally, I mean, it's pretty funny actually. They're literally shouting at each other, and and like Nick's like, just fucking tell me. And I'm like, dude, yeah, fucking for fuck's sake, say something else to Nick
Right.
Cage's character, please, please. So yeah, I think it was a combination of bad casting, bad writing, and maybe an idea in general, a premise that sounds really great on paper,
Mhm.
and it is really hard to actually pull off. I think, you know.
I think that so the twist and the twist is it's I don't know. It's not what people will expect. And
Hell
but
no, hell no.
and that's not a good thing at all. That's not a compliment.
No.
But it's pretty simple, honestly.
Oh,
And based on how what they have Nick Cage, the title of the movie, like and there's some wild, I mean, there's people getting killed, there's fires, there's car wrecks, there's all kinds of wackiness in this movie and the twist is so meh. It's super anticlimactic. Like I don't know, man. Like this movie had so much going for it. It seemed like it had so much going for it. But when I saw the trailer the first time, I was like, okay, this looks kind of wacky. But a part of me was like, oh, there's a lot of external bullshit going on here. I don't know
yeah.
about all this.
Yeah, we got about halfway through this one, and I was like, ugh. I think I think this movie would already be going in a different direction if it was gonna play out the way I'd hoped,
Mhm.
and it was just a little too much of the same over and over, I think. And brutal violence, shocking violence for
Yeah.
sure. Um, and we love our violence here. But this it just didn't hit. Violence moments, while somewhat shocking, didn't have gravitas at all. um, there was very little weight to the decisions that they were making, and I think that, you know, gets back to the whole tension thing. You know, they're, you know, just having a cop follow you for a little bit doesn't build any tension at all. And this was a game of like being anticipating the next terrible thing. And even I was like, I don't really, something bad's gonna happen. I don't really know what it is. And I almost don't care.
Yeah, because it has this like, and it's not the worst mystery that they have going on at
No,
once,
no,
but it never really reaches like its peak suspense. Like it never gets to
right.
that moment where you're like, oh, just tell me in a good way. You're like, just tell me, I need to
Yeah,
know. Like you never get that. And like once it goes into that, once it gets into the wild action, it like really leads into that. And it
yeah,
kind of gets away from everything else. And I think that, and I don't know the writer director,
yeah.
Yule,
Yuval Adler, yeah, or
yeah,
Yuval.
who is he? Because I swear
I,
I saw that name more than any other name
oh, all over the credits.
everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere, right? No, as far as I know, he's an Israeli director, and he's made some like action movies. That's all I know.